Falling Up is a short film that we made to sort of begin this new journey of my collaboration with Belstaff. And we were kind of throwing around ideas and brainstorming about who the new sort of modern version of this Belstaff woman was and how we could tell the story. And one of the people that we work with creatively came up with the idea of us sort of honoring and taking on the role of Amelia Earhart, who was a Belstaff woman and a very amazing and interesting woman. And so we made this little short film to sort of go along with that. When we were actually making the film, I kind of convinced myself that it was just honoring her and kind of the overall idea of her. But then as it was happening, we were not only just celebrating her, I actually was playing her. And it all became a little bit more real that it was really about her. As we developed the script and everything came together, it wasn't just the idea of her, it really was a particular part of her story. The director, Niall, was very interested in the particular part of her life. She had a husband, but their relationship was quite complicated, and they were in a romantic relationship, but it almost felt like a business partnership in a way, and she was quite official with him. And when she said goodbye to him before she got on the plane, she shook his hand instead of hugging him, and kind of with purpose got on the plane and went on her way. And I thought that was very interesting, and he wanted us to explore. It's tricky when you're making a short film. Sometimes it can be visually very stimulating and not have a lot of substance, and he wanted to focus on the real conflicts and passions of who she was and what she was going through. So we chose to focus a lot on that. And then this particular flight that she was going on, that everyone was quite scared for her to go on, and the plane was too heavy to go the distance that it needed. And so she was coming up with ideas and ways to make the plane lighter and take things out of the plane in order to be able to accomplish her mission. And it was quite a big risk, which ultimately ended in her losing her life. So it's very sad. I didn't know a lot about it, but it was something that Niall really focused on in the writing of the script. There's a scene where we have an argument. There's a scene where he's trying to help me, and you see his concern and you see his love for her, and she's just not focused on that in her life, which I thought was really interesting, because I'm in a totally opposite place in my life where I'm pregnant and I'm in a relationship, and a lot of my life is based on putting my family and my love and my children first. And I feel like what was so interesting about her as an independent woman in that time is that she was so driven by her passion to fly and to accomplish these challenges that she wasn't focused on the normal traditional role of a woman. And I think that's really amazing and inspiring. When I first was told that we were going to do the film based on Amelia Earhart's life, I got very excited and by the idea of all the adventures that I could personally take on. And so I thought, oh, I'll learn to fly and take some lessons, and I could learn to ride a motorcycle. And then I found out that I was pregnant, so I couldn't do any of those things. And it was interesting that I didn't have to, that I was able to sort of pretend, but still get the idea of how intense and serious it is. And I actually would really like to take some flying lessons. I feel like I meet women every day that inspire me, and definitely I've met some incredible iconic figures in life that I've looked up to from afar and had the chance to meet that inspire me, but mostly I would be touched and inspired by people that I actually get a chance to meet and interact with. And everyone's story is so interesting and so unique, and I always remind myself of that every day, to just look people in the eye and ask them questions, and kind of everyone has a story, you know, everyone has something that's special about them. So I feel constantly inspired by women and by all their different stories. I really had more of a creative back seat. I actually wasn't there for filming. They were filming in Mexico, and I had just had Sailor, and I was home with him. So, but I was more involved in the sort of creative process of working on the script and editing, and I actually wish they'd used David a lot more, and I think he's a really, really good actor, and he's very natural and charismatic and charming, and he has the aura of like an old movie star that I find really amazing, and I would like to see him act even more than he did in Outlaws. Maybe we need to do an Outlaws 2. When they asked me to work with them this time, that was one of the things I said, can I design a capsule collection? Because I'd always wanted to be able to do that. So I've worked in fashion and film for a long time, and I've always been very involved in the clothes that I wear, and whether someone's making me something for fashion and you're kind of like, oh, well, can you do this or do that? Or especially with films, you really are very involved in the overall look of your character, because it's such a big part of who you are. This is my first London Fashion Week event. I was in New York last week. It's always so fun to get to see all the creativity and what everyone's working on, and it's so different every year. It's so visually stimulating, and it's so different from the world of filmmaking. There's something so immediate about fashion that I really like. You have an inspiration, and then you create this thing, and then you're putting on a show, and it all happens quite quickly, and then it's over, and it's something you can look back at photos of, but it's not the same as a film. It takes a very long time to plan and write and create and film, and it's a very different process. So I enjoy getting to kind of dip my toes into both worlds. I feel like my everyday presence as a woman inspires my children, not my films. I don't think they really notice that I'm an actor, really. My son that's 11 kind of does, but he doesn't really pay attention. I don't even know what it must be like for them. I don't think they notice that much. I'm just mom, you know? I want them to be proud of me, and I want to teach them all of the things that are important to me that were taught to me by my relatives, and the things that I've learned in the world, and it's so fun to get to share those things with them, and then watch them grow and follow their interests and passions. Well, I've been working with Bell Staff a lot this year, and I am filming a show called The Leftovers. So we're in our little break right now. We'll start filming that again in the next few months. And I made another film last year that I haven't seen yet. But just normal, you know.